All right, everybody, welcome back to Honest E-Commerce. Today, we're welcoming to the show Rishi from Frictionless Commerce, and he is going to hit us with 2 amazing tips to improve your messaging. I'm going to stop talking and let an expert kind of show you what's up. Rishi, welcome to the show.
Hey, man. Thanks. I appreciate it. Good to talk to you guys. I want to give you a quick background about what I've been doing for the last 11 years. I've been basically just A/B testing all day, all night, just running split tests. And why are we doing it? We're doing it because we want to really get to the root of buyer psychology. We want to understand how buyers behave online and what can we do from a marketing perspective to influence and convince and convert them. And my focus is on copywriting. So that's basically what we spend our time on. We've got a 9-point copywriting process. But on this video, in this quick video, I'm going to focus on 2 things. And these 2 things are going to fundamentally change your lives. These are things that we've been testing. We've run hundreds of tests. And these are the 2 things that almost in every instance make a huge difference. So keep your pen and paper ready. Here are my 2 tips. Tip number 1 is to focus on first-time buyers. There's a lot in marketing. There's a whole bunch of things that are happening in marketing. And I think what happens is that we tend to kind of get pulled into things like we need to increase our average order value. We need to do some cross sells, upsells. We need to reactivate people that we converted a year ago. We need to ignite word of mouth marketing so we can get people to bring in their friends into our brand. I think all of those things are important, but I think they're very complicated. And I think most people will get it wrong. The thing to focus on is converting more first-time buyers. So basically, I want you to look at your website purely from the perspective of, does our website, is our marketing doing a good job in telling a story and convincing and converting first-time buyers? That's all you're caring about. Don't worry about getting people to subscribe to your subscription plan. Don't worry about getting someone who's seeing product A to also see product B in hopes that they would buy A plus B. These things hurt conversion rates. Laser focus on converting first-time buyers. What you're going to find is something magical happens. If you can improve first-time buyer conversion rates by 10%, the actual impact on your business is going to be close to 30%. How? Because first-time buyers also have a higher lifetime value. So they will buy again in the future. If they buy in the future, you can cross-sell to them. Once I get someone's email address and I have their permission to market to them, I can then expose them to all the wonderful products you have. I can expose them to your premium product line. But when they're on the website and they've never bought from you before, it's too risky to kind of take them away from the cart page and say, have you also considered buying something else? So I would very strongly recommend that you focus on first-time buyers, and your entire marketing needs to be geared towards that objective. So that's my tip number 1. Related to tip number 1 is tip number 2, which I think is the most overlooked aspect of e-commerce. I have worked with 150 different online retailers. I've looked at more data than one healthy person should look at. And what I can tell you is that marketers do a terrible job in telling their story. Think about the buyer experience. Think about what happens on Google. When I search for a blender, or if I'm looking for a juicer, or if I'm looking for a pair of shoes, what is Google doing? Google's in the business of giving me more and more choices. What do consumers do when they're confronted with lots of choices? We know this, that what consumers do is first of all, we're not designed to process more than 3 to 4 choices. So it's too much for us. And the way we behave online is we right click, we open a new tab. So when someone comes to your website, they've actually got 5 other tabs open, and they're also looking at your competitors. So they're not giving you their full attention. And what they're looking for is they're looking for a connection. And so by focusing on what makes you different, whether it's what makes you different as a business, or what makes your product different from everything else, or what makes your pricing different, everything can be justified. Everything can be justified, but your job as a marketer is to nail that question, and you have 20 seconds to do it. So I would say that instead of focusing on talking about stuff that's not important, focus on nailing why you are different. And if you can focus that, it's going to have a dramatic effect on conversion rates. And those are my 2 tips, and I hope that makes sense.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense to me. And I think that, the first tip there is work on nailing that messaging, and the marketing that you're going to do to first-time buyers is actually, that's key. And also what it's going to help you with is, with all of your remarketing efforts, if you start to get that stuff to make sense more, when you're bringing people back, they're going to convert at a higher rate as well. That's a fantastic outlook to have. And I think like when you're approaching writing the messaging and copy on your site, especially on like landing pages when you're doing prospecting and stuff, I think people oftentimes they have too many goals with what they want this ad to do for them. So I think, taking this strategy, the number one goal is to just convert a first-time visitor. What can we test? What language can we use? What messaging, what offer can we use to try to, just have one goal with your ads? I think that is something that I took away from that first statement, is because a lot of people, if you try to do too much, if everything's important, nothing's important, and it's going to go to shit. So, you got to really narrow that focus. And I think with your prospecting ads at top of the funnel, absolutely work on that copy to try to increase those first-time purchases. Because not only that, it's like if you can figure out a profitable sales funnel to where you're profiting on prospecting, that's a lot of P words. You've essentially hit a home run, and you should be cranking it up to as much as you can invest in that winning ad. That's what people are talking about when they're like, there's money to be made on Facebook. It's like once you identify that winning ad, that's when you turn up the spend. Hopefully I didn't get a little too tangential from what you were discussing, but it's just, all of these things relate.
Well, I think, and you mentioned earlier in our call that you guys use Basecamp. I think Basecamp is a great example of a company that really nails what makes them different. When you go to the Basecamp homepage, basecamp.com, it is within 4 seconds, you know exactly what they stand for. Their design aesthetics communicated, their copy is crystal clear. They say exactly who they are. And I think sometimes what happens is for us as marketers, because we don't know what's going to resonate with the customer, we basically say, let's just put everything out there in hopes that something is going to work. The problem, like you said, with that is that it might work for some people, but it's a huge turnoff for everyone else. So don't worry about having everybody as your customer. It's never going to happen. It's never happened in the history of mankind. You're not going to be the first marketer to do it. Even Apple can't do it. So I would say instead of doing that, focus on saying, okay, we know that only 4% of people on our website will ever buy from us. How can we make sure that we are speaking directly to that 4% and forget the damn 96%?
Oh, absolutely. And then, just talking about Basecamp. Basecamp is a masterclass in how to build a business. Their owners have produced a bunch of amazing books, and I can highly recommend reading Remote. And It Doesn't Have to Be Crazy at Work. Those actually transformed our agency, and those are I highly recommend those. They do a very good job. Their blog, 37 Signals, has a lot of amazing content on it too. They're a very work in public company, and I appreciate them being in this ecosystem. Rishi, if people are interested in what you're saying and they want to learn more from you, where should they head?
Yes. I want to mention that real quick. I have a weekly newsletter. Every Monday morning, I share one key conversion insight. I'm not talking about it from a design perspective. We study and research buyer psychology. And my website and the way you can sign up for the newsletter, there's only one way to do it. So you won't see a link on my homepage. It's frictionless-commerce. That's frictionless-commerce.com/join, JOIN. That's the only way to get to the newsletter. If you're interested in this content, you can sign up. You can unsubscribe whenever you want. It's going to blow your mind.
Awesome. We'll make sure to link to that in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Unprepared is not scripted or edited. When I screw up, it's going live. That might work for this show, but that is no way to run a business. Our partner and sponsor, Rewind, can protect your Shopify store with automated backups and quick and easy recovery. Rewind should be the first app you install on your project to protect your store against human error, misbehaving apps, or collaborators gone bad. It's like having your own magic undo button. Trusted by over 25,000 businesses, from side hustles to the biggest online retailers like Reebok, Gatorade, or Movement Watches. Best of all, you can respond to any of their welcome emails and just mention Unprepared this show and get your first month absolutely free.